And when compared to the amount of fruit for the same amount of calories, but when you compare it to the, but when you, So I have made some major changes to my diet that has not only allowed me to eat twice as much, sometimes even more than twice as much, but it's also allowed me to lose 36 pounds in the last few months. So yeah, today's video, I'm going to be showing you exactly what I mean by that, giving you guys a very good visual so you can see exactly what I'm talking about. So this one you're not gonna wanna miss. Hello everyone, and welcome to my channel. I'm Stasia, and I have recently lost a handful of weight in these past few months following a plant-based diet, 36 pounds to be exact. And that didn't always come easy for me. I've actually struggled for years to get this weight off. So recently I have made a change to my weight loss strategy by removing overt fats from my diet. So that includes nuts, seeds, oils, avocados, any of those higher fat plant-based foods. And since removing them, the weight is just like melting off of me, and it's actually even shocking to me. The first 20 pounds in particular, like literally just melted off of me within 8 weeks, and then I've been steadily losing weight ever since. So today's video, I wanted to show you exactly what I mean, and I mean actually show you, the difference in calories when it comes to food. So I've recently put out a video that goes into more detail about what I'm talking about when it comes to calories and how we do need to be mindful of them even while following a whole food plant-based diet, because you will not lose weight unless you're in a calorie deficit. And especially if you've never counted calories, or just in general, you don't really have a good idea of how many calories certain foods contain. Today's video is going to be really helpful because I have a few different comparisons so that you can see by giving up certain calorie dense plant-based foods, that how much more food you can actually eat in its place for the same calories or less. Not only that, it's really eye-opening to see the volume of food that you're able to consume when you get rid of those, lower volume, higher calorie dense foods. It just makes a world's difference. So before I show you the comparisons, which is probably gonna shock you a little bit, just a quick reminder that in the spirit of Black Friday, all of my weight loss recipe ebooks are still on sale for only $5, all of them. And that includes my brand new weight loss recipe ebook, and this right here is the blueprint to how I got this weight off. All of the recipes included in this book have no overt fats at all, hence the title, Zero Overt Fats, as well as no breads and no pastas either in any of the recipes. So these are the recipes that I was keeping track of while I was losing the first 30 pounds, and these are still the same recipes that I'm eating to get the rest of this weight off. So when I say it's the blueprint to my weight loss, like it's literally the blueprint to how I got this weight off. So even that book is on sale for $5, along with my other two weight loss recipe ebooks that are also oil-free and have some really amazing recipes in there as well. So this will be the lowest price these books will ever be. So if you haven't had a chance to grab a copy yet, now's your opportunity to get it at this really good deal. So if you are interested in checking those books out, then the link to those will be found in my description box below. Oh, and I hate to be a buzzkill, but today is the last day for the sale. So yeah. All right, so let's jump into the video. I really have a feeling that this is gonna be eye-opening for a lot of you, and it's gonna make more sense why I'm steadily losing the weight since eliminating those overt fats. So we are going to start off by comparing an avocado and this huge bowl of strawberries and mangoes. Now, why I wanted to compare these two is because avocado, like I mentioned, is something that I had quite a bit before giving it up. Now, this particular avocado is actually extremely small in size. So this one, I easily could have had half or 3/4 of it, maybe just in one sitting, just because of how tiny it is. And so the reason why I wanted to compare these two is because not only did I use avocados for avocado toast, but I also used avocados in my smoothies quite often. I would maybe use 1/4 to 1/2 of an avocado, just depending on the size of the avocado, of course. But like I said, in this case, it definitely would have been about half, if not 3/4 of this avocado. There is 165 calories in this small avocado, but when compared to this huge bowl of strawberries and mangoes, for that huge bowl, it is only 168 calories. So we're talking pretty much the exact same thing. Now, going back to the avocado, let's keep things in perspective. So we're not just drinking just an avocado when we make a smoothie. We haven't even begun to add the other ingredients. So you still need your fruit, your banana, your greens, your milk, whatever else you're going to be putting in that smoothie, which is just going to continue to build on those calories that you're going to be consuming. But when you look at this huge bowl of fruit, you quite literally could make a smoothie just with this fruit alone if you really wanted to. But I mean, by even adding in some kale or some spinach, some mint, and then maybe some water or some unsweetened plant-based milk, the calories are not going to even change very much from what you're looking at right now. So that is the difference. You can actually fill up on this large amount of fruit, pretty much make the whole smoothie with just that alone, and still be sitting at around 168 calories or so, just under 200 anyways, we'll say, as opposed to that avocado that's just your starting base and you haven't even added anything else to it. All right, moving along. So the next thing I want to show you is the difference between cashew butter and powdered peanut butter. So this one is a crazy, crazy one. So while they both have 2 tablespoons, clearly the powdered peanut butter is a lot more even in volume, because with the powdered peanut butter, pretty much I think it's like 80% of the fat is extracted, and then you just add water to create the peanut butter like consistency. So honestly, I don't even notice that big of a difference, especially considering how much fat is removed. So I would say it's a pretty fair trade-off. Now with that being said, I don't typically eat a lot of the powdered peanut butter in this form, because I probably would have been using it, on toast or something like that. So really, I just like to use a little bit of the powdered peanut butter sometimes in my fiber protein shakes. And that's really all that I use it for. So I know a lot of you have asked, well, isn't that a fat? I mean, I guess technically speaking, but it's so low fat, and for the little amount that I use, I haven't been worried about it, and it's been working out just fine. I just like to add it to my shakes just for a little bit of flavor. But at any rate, even if you want to use it on toast or as a dip for your fruit or dressings, it's still going to be the better option versus, any type of nut butter. And I haven't even got to the best part yet. So for basically the same amount, 2 tablespoons each, you're looking at 190 calories. 190 calories for 2 tablespoons of the cashew butter. And in comparison, for 2 tablespoons of the powdered peanut butter, it is only 50 calories. 50 calories. The difference is just mind-blowing. So not only are you getting more in the volume, you're also getting like a lot more bang for your buck calorically speaking. So you can definitely enjoy some of that powdered peanut butter without having to worry about that being the reason to put you over your calorie deficit. Because those nut butters, they're so easy to throw in smoothies or just slather some on some bread, or even in some of our dressings, our sauces and dressings. Those calories can add up real quick because you're already 190 calories in. And like I was saying before about the avocado, you haven't even added the rest of the ingredients. You haven't even eaten any food, like real food yet, and you're already 190 calories into your meal. So this is precisely why it makes such a big difference by either removing or reducing those overt fats. All right, so the next one I want to share are olives and a potato. So I decided to use this one as a comparison to focus on the satiety that we're going to get from either of these foods. So as you can see, there's not that many olives, and I don't know about you, but if I were to sit down and eat these olives, I am not going to walk away feeling satisfied in any which way. When compared to that medium-sized potato, we're looking at about the same amount of calories, but a very different experience getting up from the tables. A medium-sized potato is roughly around 110 calories or so. So we're looking at pretty much the same calories, but a totally different experience. I know that if I was hungry and I was sitting down to have a baked potato or, an Instant Pot potato or whatever, I'm gonna walk away, and even if I'm not exactly full, I am definitely gonna have the edge taken off. But even a better case scenario, you can have that potato as the star of your meal and then just build around that with a ton of non-starchy vegetables. And non-starchy vegetables are only 100 calories per pound. So that's a lot of vegetables, so you could literally build out the rest of your plate with a huge salad that I think up to 5 cups of salad greens is around 50 calories or so. So you're actually not even gonna be adding that many more calories on by filling out the rest of your plate with non-starchy vegetables, having that one potato, and you have a super low calorie dense meal. all for around the same amount of calories that you'd be able to pop a few olives in your mouth, get up, and then still be saying, what are we having for dinner? So when we're talking calories and, trying to maximize the amount of food that you can eat while still steadily losing weight, these things have to be considered because you always want to eat foods that are going to give you the most bang for your buck calorically speaking. Those olives are hardly going to put a dent into your hunger, whereas a potato, completely different story. Okay, so moving along, the next two things I want to compare are flaxseed and apples. Now this is another one where I just wanted to focus on the satiety factor, for the same amount of calories. So here we have 2 tablespoons of flax seeds. Now in the past, I would have used flax seeds in either a dressing or in a smoothie. Now again, I want to touch on the fact that I'm not taking away from the nutritional benefits of flaxseed because flax seeds are at the top of my list when it comes to being nutritious. They are an excellent source of omega-3s, especially for a vegan diet. So I absolutely love and respect flax seeds. But today we're just focusing strictly on the calories and how they can either hurt or harm our weight loss efforts. So these flax seeds have about 110 calories or so in them, but when compared to the apples, these 2 apples have about 128 calories. So again, it just kind of goes back to that satiety factor. The flax seeds are going to do absolutely nothing in terms of your hunger, like absolutely nothing. Again, they're just a baseline. You haven't even added all the other ingredients that you're going to need to add. So whether that would be a dressing or in a smoothie, you still have a ton of other ingredients until you get to your desired result. Whereas the apples, they're snack completely on their own. You don't even need anything else. So it's just another example of being wise when we're choosing what foods to eat to help support our weight loss goals. All right, so I have 2 more examples and I saved the best for last because these ones are just crazy to me. All right, so the next one is going to be oil and zucchini. Now, if you're new to a whole food plant-based lifestyle, it might be really strange for you to not cook your food without oil. But now from a weight loss perspective, I want to show you why a lot of us believe in eliminating those oils, not only for health, but for weight loss very specifically, because it makes an incredible difference. So here is just 1 tablespoon, 1. Now, let's just pause there for a second. When is the last time that anyone, generally cooked with 1 tablespoon of oil? I don't know about you, but when I was using oil, I just kind of pour it in the pan and kind of hope for the best that I didn't use too much. Now, of course, if you're counting calories or something like that, that's completely different. Then in that case, I can see someone measuring out 1 tablespoon of oil. But generally speaking, if you're cooking, you're just kind of throwing it in the pan, covering your vegetables or your food, and away you go. So 1 tablespoon is not that much of oil, and you would be lucky if that even covered the amount of food that you have in your pan. So with that being said, 1 tablespoon of oil is a whopping 120 calories. And that's again, just assuming we're using just 1 tablespoon. Now, if you can only imagine, if you accidentally poured in 2 tablespoons or 3 tablespoons, you can see how quickly those calorie amounts are gonna add up really fast when you're using oil. So in comparison, I have 4 zucchinis cashing in at only 118 calories. Let's just let that sink in for a second. So you're telling me for even less calories, now given a very minute amount of less calories, but even still less calories, I can trade in that 1 tablespoon of olive oil for 4 zucchinis? That's just wild to me. And actually zucchinis are something that I was eating a lot of while I'm losing this weight off. I have a recipe in my new weight loss ebook I was talking about that's called cheesy zucchinis. And this is like my ultimate favorite meal that I love having as my non-starchy side. I just love it. And so I spiral the zucchini. I don't use any oil. I just use a little bit of water, maybe even sometimes some soy sauce or hot sauce, any type of, fat-free liquid to get it cooking. And then I top it with my cheese sauce and it is absolutely incredible. No oil needed. So you can imagine the amounts. You can have 1, 2, 3 zucchinis, fill up your plate with as much as you want, basically, of the zucchini, and then have some potatoes on the side or whatever starch you're gonna have with it. And you can have an incredible amount of volume for the same amount of calories that 1 tiny tablespoon of oil is gonna give you. And meanwhile, the oil is not even food. It's not gonna touch your hunger. So you still have to add all the other foods and everything else, which the calories are just gonna keep building and building. So this one was a little bit shocking for me because I've been eating so much zucchini and I don't track my calories, so I had to actually look into the calories to make this video, and I was like, okay, so that makes sense because I've been eating a lot of zucchini and I've just been loving it in terms of taste-wise, but obviously it's been very good for me weight-wise. All right, so we've made it to the last one, and this is the biggest comparison for me personally in my diet because I was using a ton of nuts when it came to my dressings and of course my smoothies. So this one has been a game changer in helping me get this 36 pounds off. So here we have half a cup of walnuts compared to a half a cup of chickpeas. Now, why this is such a big difference is because even in what is now my favorite dressing, well, it's always kind of been one of my favorites. And again, this recipe can also be found in my new ebook if you do have a copy, it's in there. So it's my absolute favorite dressing. And before, I was using nuts to make this dressing, and I was using a quarter of a cup to a half a cup, depending on, how big my batch was going to be. Now, the thing with dressing, that's a really slippery slope because when we're covering our vegetables, our salads, whatever the case, we're generally not measuring it out either. So we're just pouring the dressing on. So when you have a nut-based dressing, those calories can be huge. So you have to be really, really careful, and then who wants to have a salad where you can barely even cover, an eighth of that salad with the little amount of dressing that you're able to use if there is nuts in it, if you're trying to keep those calories down. So that's where you insert the chickpeas. So I actually swapped out the nuts for chickpeas instead. And when I tell you, it literally didn't even make a difference to me taste-wise. Like, I mean it. I absolutely love that dressing. I've also had a lot of you in my comments come back and say that you've tried the dressing and you also love it too. It's incredible. And you have the richness and the creaminess from the beans that give it that full fat feel that the nuts do, except without all the calories. So let's get to the best part. So there are 400 calories in a half a cup of walnuts. Let that one sink in. How many times in our life have we just sat there munching on nuts if nuts were set out on the table somewhere as a snack? So nuts are just dangerous, dangerous territory because you can just eat so many of them. I've sat there and watched, certain friends or family put back an entire pack of nuts, one that was supposed to probably be eaten over the course of maybe a few weeks in one sitting, they were able to pound it back. So you can just imagine how many calories that would be. In comparison to the chickpeas, a half a cup only contains 143 calories. That is a big, big difference and a lot less scary territory when it comes to dressings. So by swapping out those nuts and replacing them with beans, I personally feel like it's a fair trade-off because you're still getting that richness and fullness in your recipes without all the extra calories. Not to mention, beans have a fantastic way of keeping us full for a really long time, adding so much fiber and protein to our diets, so you just can't go wrong. And that's another reason why I like to use them in my fiber protein shakes, because they're low calorie as well as keeping me full. And that is precisely why those shakes have been life-changing for my weight loss journey. Again, if you want to check out those fiber protein shakes, you will also find those in my new ebook. There's 7 different recipes, one for every day of the week. Use them all, use one over and over again, it doesn't matter. They're all delicious and I personally alternate between all of them. All right, everyone, so I'm gonna leave it here. I really hope that this was as eye-opening for you as it was for me. And this is why by eliminating those overt fats, why I'm having such success with my weight loss. So I hope that it's a little bit more clear. Some of us are visual learners, so I kept that in mind when I was thinking of what videos to put out. And I thought that might be a good one because even for me, it even helped me to see the difference in what we're getting calorically speaking when it comes to our food choices. So calories do matter. Even if you don't want to count them, they do matter. You have to be in a calorie deficit to get the weight off. So every time you sit down to eat a meal or when you're going grocery shopping, constantly try to look for the better option that has less calories, less calorie dense, and swap it out for those higher calorie dense foods. And I promise you, you're going to see a difference. So if it's the first time landing on one of my videos and you're also on a health and weight loss journey following a plant-based diet, then be sure to hit subscribe. I'd love to have you stick around, especially if you want to stay updated with my own personal health and weight loss journey. I've been keeping track of it and updating every month with my new results. Speaking of, I will be putting out a video next week with my newest results. I only weigh myself every so often, so I'll be weighing myself next week and letting you all know how I did for the month of November following these 0 overt fat recipes. And speaking of, don't forget about that Black Friday special. Again, the link to those books can be found in my description box below. Thank you so much for watching, everyone, and we'll see you in the next one.